Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Remember to click like, share, and subscribe. Once again, thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Remember to click like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Hello, everybody. I'm Ed Robinson, and welcome to another exciting edition of The Robinson Show. On the program, I have him back on, Voja Medic. Voja is the co-host of the Nuggets Serbia podcast, which airs exclusively on YouTube and serves as an occasional contributor for the Serbian Corner podcast, which is aired exclusively on the DNVR Sports YouTube channel. On the program, we discuss the Denver Nuggets NBA Finals run, also Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, what's next for the Denver Nuggets, and more. Voja is coming up after the break. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Robinson Show.
Do you hear that? That is the sound of BMW performance without a single piston or cylinder. A generation of all-electric vehicles designed and built like no other. The BMW iX, i7, and i4 revolutionized every drive into a thrilling opportunity to feel the pure rush of BMW 100% electric. But isn't that what you'd expect from the ultimate electric driving machine? Take advantage of exceptional lease and finance offers today.
As we approach a minute remaining, Nuggets clinging to a 1-point lead. Murray lobbed it up top to Jokic, 5 to shoot. Jokic backs in, drives inside, layup won't go. Gordon's tip is no good. Strus the rebound. 45 seconds remaining.
And this is where you want to look to for one if you can, if you get a good one.
Lowry picked up by Gordon. Murray is on Butler. Jimmy Butler on the drive, gets inside, stops. Stolen by Caldwell Pope. And a foul with 24.7 remaining. Inside to Butler. Gordon guards him. Duncan Robinson looking for it. Caldwell Pope pokes it away. Butler hoists up a three. Off the mark. Brown the rebound. They've got a foul, and they do. With 14.3 remaining.
You don't need a three in that situation.
Lowry searching. Looking. Finds Strus back to Lowry. There it is. Three-pointer. Won't go. Rebound. Caldwell Pope. They're not going to foul. The Heat will let it play out. It's over. At last, the long wait is over. After 47 years, the Denver Nuggets can finally call themselves NBA champions. There's such joy right now in the Mile High City. The first title in franchise history. Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets win it all.
47 years for the Denver Nuggets. Congratulations. You are the 2023 NBA champions. And now, the Larry O'Brien Trophy.
Mr. Kroenke, like the commissioner said, the drought is over. What does this trophy mean to this city?
Unbelievable. The fans in this town are unbelievable, as you can see, Lisa. Unbelievable. And so it means a lot to us to be able to get this done. And the fans, we couldn't have done it without them. So, fantastic.
This is the first Finals MVP trophy that we're giving out since Bill Russell's passing. And he'd be incredibly pleased. It's another center. This year's Bill Russell Finals MVP goes to Nikola Jokic.
You know, as we said, really one really good thing. We are not winning for ourselves. We are winning for the guy next to us.
and that's why this is even more, because I was winning for Jamal was winning for AG, and that's how it goes, and this is a great group of people, a great group of teammates, like I said, and from the family Kroenke to the Sparky and Gene, everything this year was amazing. We believe in each other, the relationship that we had. Yes, trophies and something, but I think we had some relationship that is going to be long, like even after we finish careers.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the program. That audio was courtesy of the National Basketball Association, the NBA, also ESPN, ABC Sports, and the Walt Disney Company. And you heard Mike Breen on the call of the ending of Game 5, the final moments of Game 5 of the 2023 NBA Finals as the Denver Nuggets win their first NBA championship in the 47-year history of the franchise. And then also you heard from Nuggets owner Stan Kroenke, and then you've heard Adam Silver presenting Denver Nuggets center Nikola Jokic with the Bill Russell NBA Finals MVP Award to talk more about the Denver Nuggets NBA Finals run and amongst other things with the Nuggets. Let's welcome him back to the program. He is the co-host of the Nuggets Serbia podcast, which airs exclusively on YouTube and serves as an occasional contributor for the Serbian Corner podcast, which is aired exclusively on the DNVR Sports YouTube channel. Let's welcome him back to the program, Voja Medic. Hey, Voja, welcome back to the program, my man.
Hello, Ed. How's it going? Thank you for having me again.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us on the program. So, Voja, I got to ask you this. What words come to your mind when you think of the Denver Nuggets NBA Finals run?
Dominant is number one, and just surreal and kind of filmic, I guess. But it's kind of, every time I remember, like, you were showing that audio or playing that audio, and I was just like, it gets back to you, like, holy crap, they're really our champions.
Absolutely, and as I mentioned earlier, again, this is the first championship in the organization's 47-year history. So Denver, they've had some great players in that organization, but it's good to see that they've put it together and got everything together with the right core to make it happen to win their first championship. And speaking of the finals run, I want to start off with somebody that was very significant in this finals run for the Nuggets, and unfortunately, he's no longer a member of the team, but Bruce Brown. What a run he had during the NBA Finals. Just give me your thoughts on Bruce and his play.
Yeah, he was great. It's interesting. I mean, he was like a sixth starter the whole year. The thing with him is what was good when they signed him was the versatility of the lineups that he provided. And he earned his, you mentioned he left for Indiana and honestly earned the contract. He earned the money. He's been kind of bouncing around from Detroit to Brooklyn and been basically on minimum deals, and he took like the biggest contract in his career was with the Nuggets, and it was only $6 million. Say only for like NBA standards, but he was very versatile, especially with Miami, how they were playing defense and how their setup was to stop the Nuggets. The Nuggets needed a third ball or a second ball handler on the guard spots, but basically a third guy on the court that can kind of dribble, penetrate, and basically break that press that the Heat was throwing out there. That's why it was very important for him to be there. And it's interesting, again, like role players are really fascinating because he was less of a factor in the beginning against the Minnesota Timberwolves because they had a bigger lineups. Like, again, in the Lakers series, he was in and out. With Phoenix, he was good. But he was really like a utility guy that unfortunately left. But he had a really amazing finals run, especially the game 4 they played in Miami.
Absolutely, Voja. He really turned it up in Game 4, and certainly Bruce had a profound impact on the Nuggets during that run. He's definitely going to be missed, but as you said, it's a business, and he decided to leave. But, man, kudos to Bruce Brown for a great run for the Denver Nuggets. And somebody else that had a really good run in the finals, specifically in Game 3 in Miami, that was Christian Braun. Christian, what a rookie year for him, and especially what a last 2 years it's been for him. The year before winning the national championship at the University of Kansas, and in his rookie year winning an NBA championship. Give me your thoughts on Christian and his play during the finals.
Awesome. That's, again, because it's the NBA, especially playoffs, is all about matchups. And interestingly enough, I mean, he had really barely played in the last 3 games, or the last 2 games at least, in the conference finals, because the Lakers had a specific way to basically exploit the fact that he's inexperienced, even though he's really a sound player and a sound basketball player. But in the finals, he had his ability to break the zone. That was like a big thing in that game you mentioned when he had a big game in Game 3. Because, again, he played in college the year before, and it was kind of interesting because the NBA has less zone play. And so in college, he was more fresh in playing against the zone and knowing how to attack it. And that's kind of what happened in that Game 3. He started cutting, getting through the ring, getting in the middle of that zone, and kind of basically half playmaking, which is really good for this year for him to kind of build off of. But that was, I mean, and then especially on defense, he was a really good matchup for Jimmy Butler, for other guys that were on the court. So just, I mean, you said it, like you go from NCAA title, and he was a big part of that, and then to win a title as a rookie in the NBA, but actually be a part of the rotation, because a lot of rookies do end up winning for specific teams to win titles, but rarely do they actually have significant minutes in the playoffs and up to the whole season. So it was really, really cool to see that one too. The kid's a winner. That's basically what you got to say for him.
Absolutely. You're right about that, Voja. Indeed, he is a winner. And so far in his early career, he's definitely put up some accolades already, and certainly gone from national champion in college, I should say, to being an NBA champion. And speaking of already being an NBA champion, KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, if anybody you mentioned about Christian's defense, well, KCP was one of the lockdown defenders for Denver during this NBA Finals run, especially in the last 3 games. He really showed his defensive prowess in this series. Give me your thoughts on KCP and his play.
Yeah, that's kind of what they brought in last summer was okay, he has experience, he really fits well. And again, it's interesting. Again, we're going back to matchups, going back to fit. Just how Denver is constructed, they need that type of player that is basically really economical. He can shoot really quick jumpers. He can attack off of dribble handoffs and some off of dribble, and especially play defense. And then you have the situations where he plays against Booker, and Booker's really tough to guard, but then he ends up after 4 games kind of cracking Booker and really defending him well, pressing him full court, like exhausting him. Against the Lakers, he shows up, basically shuts down some of their guard play. And then for the Heat, especially because they have a really complex offense, and Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin were really going off against the Celtics, and KCP basically stepped up and shut down their point of attack there because Gordon was guarding Jimmy Butler, and so he was really responsible for subduing Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin, whichever he would be on, and that was a big thing too, to like kind of cut off their 3-point shooting, and that's what he did. And again, like really, I mean, it's the second title. Really happy for him to get to celebrate this one, because when he won it with the Lakers, it was pandemic, so they didn't have a parade, so he didn't really celebrate. So now he kind of got his 2-for-1 celebration for this one. So it's really cool to see him win this one too.
Absolutely. And KCP, again, as you stated earlier, Voja, what we talked about, just an underrated defender, and certainly he brought that championship experience to Denver, having won one during the bubble with the LA Lakers. And like you said, he's definitely enjoying the fruits of his labor with the celebration indeed. And a person that has enjoyed the fruits of his labor with a long NBA career and still going strong, and that's Jeff Green, affectionately known as Uncle Jeff. Jeff, someone that brought the veteran leadership. Again, Jeff, no longer a member of the Denver Nuggets, signed the contract, a 1-year deal with the Houston Rockets, but Jeff's still a big, important part of that finals run for Denver. Give me your thoughts on Jeff and his play.
Yeah, he was important. I mean, he was basically the 8th guy. He and Christian Brown, depending on the matchups. He wasn't. I got to say, like, I mean, it's great. They won. I have to say, he wasn't the best in the playoffs. Like, he had really interesting moments and had some couple of big shots in like certain moments just to kind of at least like add some points to. It's tricky again. He's really like, as you said, like he's older. Some of the stuff even against the Heat, he wasn't, for me at least, he wasn't as great as he was like obviously years ago. But he didn't make too many mistakes to, again, because you're eighth player, you don't expect an eighth player or seventh player in your rotation to be like contributing the same as your starters. So as long as it wasn't like catastrophic, that's good for any teams. But yeah, he's basically, his leadership for all these like couple of years in the Nuggets was really great. Like he knows what to do out there. And the fact is, again, he left. He got offered. Again, it's kind of when you win a championship, a lot of basically it's like winning an Oscar in acting. Like your salary kind of goes up because of the pedigree. And so he left for Houston, which they're in need of veteran players. And especially, I think he has a relationship with Ime Udoka as a coach because Udoka was a assistant in Brooklyn when Jeff Green was there. So I think that's also a connection. And they paid him decently more than Nuggets could afford. And so now they have a veteran presence of him in the young core in Houston. And he also used to play for Houston, so I believe he also probably has already established relationships over there. So really cool for him too to get that at the end of his career. But again, really contributed well. He was someone you can count on, and at least Malone thought so when he played him throughout the whole playoffs. And that's basically all you can need. Like, is basically for me, the best moment for him was against the Lakers, I believe Game 3, where Aaron Gordon was actually quote unquote benched at the end of the game because they needed to spread the floor, and Jeff Green hit a really big three in the corner to basically provide the punishment for Lakers overhelping on Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic pick and roll. So that's kind of for him. And again, really, he earned it, like, for all these years and the open heart surgery and everything. Really happy that he got to be a part of a championship run.
I'm happy too as well, Voja, and especially you mentioned about the open heart surgery that he had some time ago when he was a member of the Boston Celtics, and we didn't know if he was going to be able to play in the NBA again, let alone live again and have a normal life. But, man, I'm so happy for Jeff getting an NBA championship, and, of course, he's going to be moving on to the Houston Rockets. And speaking of somebody that earned their first NBA championship is someone that has been experienced and someone that's been through the line of fire throughout his career for quite some time, DeAndre Jordan. Now, Voja, I know DeAndre is similar to Jeff in terms of not necessarily being a presence on the court, but definitely being an emotional leader and someone just being a vocal leader in terms of experience. Just kind of give me your thoughts on DeAndre and his NBA Finals run and finally getting that first championship.
Yeah, you mentioned. I mean, the thing is, what changed with the Nuggets from previous years and this year is they kind of had the layer of first, second, third stringers they all knew they were professional and knew what the goal was and sacrificed their egos. The thing with Jordan, he played at the beginning of the season. He got the opportunity for the Nuggets to see if he's able to be out there or at least like how the lineups could work with him or don't work with him. It wasn't great. I mean, he has a specific type of play that he can do now. Nuggets don't have really lineups for him to kind of mask that he is like his age or like lack of speed that he used to have on the defensive end. And he accepted that, and that's the big thing is that they held all these veterans, including Jeff at certain times of the year where he wasn't playing. They all knew what the goal was, and they were all supportive of the younger guys and the starters like they were playing. And so with Jordan, he was surprisingly, again, like the Nuggets in Nuggets Nation, like he was someone that was actually like really not as well liked. He had situations with Jokic where he actually would hit him on the court, and it wasn't really like we didn't think that they would like each other or they would like each other, and end up being like really opposite. Like he was really great for the locker room. He was great in celebration with like everyone, and really cool for him as well. Like he actually played a couple of minutes in the final game when Nuggets got into the foul trouble, especially Jokic and Gordon. He got into the game, and the style of play that he played really was conducive to Jordan actually contributing. So he had a really good block. He had some rebounds. So even his minutes on the court in the last game actually were important and contributed to that game remaining close in the first half. So that was really awesome. And then again, like as you said, like first title for him as well. Really, really cool that you have to see a bunch of these veterans getting their chance at a ring. So yeah.
Absolutely. And again, congratulations not only to Jeff, but also congratulations to DeAndre on finally getting over that hump and winning their first NBA championships. I want to talk now about MPJ, Michael Porter Jr. Michael had a rough series. I mean, a lot of people got on him, but Game 5, the clinching game, the closing game, this is where he stepped up and made some big shots. And I guess this was kind of like, I guess you could say this was redemption. This was his redemption game because people were waiting for him to have that game in that series, and he didn't have it until Game 5. And, of course, we know about MPJ's career with the 3 back surgeries in 5 years. It's been a rough going for him, but, hey, it's definitely the hard work has paid off, getting him his first NBA championship. Give me your thoughts on Michael and his finals run.
I'm on the always with him. Well, not always. At least these playoffs in this season. Thing is with him is interesting. Which someone told us a few years ago that he would be shooting this poorly in the finals, and would actually be a positive factor on the court. We wouldn't believe it because the thing that got him into the lineup was the fact that he could shoot and that he can punish a lot of defenses because of the focus that Jokic and Murray required. The thing what happened in these finals, and even in the previous series with the Lakers, which he had a better offensive output there, but the point with him was he wasn't a target on defense. He was actually probably the second best defender on Jimmy Butler on some of the switches because of his size. And the fact that he was rebounding, the irony is, like, when you look at his numbers, he actually had a really, really good playoffs. More rebounds than Aaron Gordon, I think more points than Aaron Gordon. Bruce Brown rebounds as well. And so it's kind of funny because of it's the last series that everyone remembers because of his lack of shooting. People assume like he had a bad playoffs and even a bad series with the Heat because of everyone knows, oh, he's a shooter, and if he doesn't shoot well, everything else kind of gets forgotten. That last game was the epitome. That was the pinnacle, obviously, the best game of the series for him. And he had a double-double at the half. Like, he was really attacking, aggressive. He didn't get down on himself because he missed shots. And then and everyone was telling him to actually take shots. It doesn't matter if you're 3 of 20 or whatever he was at some point. Just take shots. And he ends up hitting a really big 3 at the tie score, 66-66 in the third quarter. And you see, like, no one was actually opposed to that shot being taken. A few years ago, when there was maybe a little bit of less trust, that's a shot where everyone would kind of, raise their arms like, oh, no, don't do it. And then if he hits, like, oh, well, that's good. Like, in this case, he just shot it. Everyone was like, oh, great. He made it. Let's go. We were expecting this to go down at some point. So I think, like, it was really, again, hard work pays off. I'm expecting him to be better and to not have a situation like this to kind of start missing this much next year. But again, he's a few years younger, and with all the surgeries, he's behind Jokic and Murray in his development. So I believe next year would be his year to kind of step up and be on that like definitive third best player on the team, maybe in some cases second best player on the team.
Absolutely, and definitely, as I stated earlier, Game 5 was his redemption game, and like you said, Voja, definitely his defense really stepped up, playing tight on Jimmy Butler, and hopefully next year will be the year where we really see MPJ really make strides. And speaking of making strides, 2 years ago, Denver really struck gold in the trade deadline in acquiring Aaron Gordon from the Orlando Magic. And Aaron, he was sensational in this series, not just on the defensive side and not just getting rebounds, but his outside shooting was amazing. And he definitely really turned it up. And he was really the X factor for the Denver Nuggets in this finals run. Give me your thoughts on Aaron and his play.
Yeah, you said, they struck gold a couple years ago when they got him. He changed his entire role on the team from Orlando. the fact that he guarded like so many of the main guys throughout the playoffs, like he was on Devin Booker, he was on Kevin Durant, he was on LeBron James. He even had Anthony Davis in a lot of minutes because he not only was playing with the starters and doing his thing, he actually was their essentially non-Jokic center. When Jokic was on the bench, he would be the center in that small ball second unit. So he guarded Gobert, Towns. He was battling with those guys on the boards. Ayton, so he was all around on the defensive end. He accepted that role and really earned to be honestly to be remembered as a Nugget when he retires. Even though he's been in Orlando for more years now, or like he probably will be in the Nuggets for a lot more years, even with after this contract expires probably. Offense, it kind of got through in Lakers in Game 4. He had a bad Game 3. He was kind of shaken. Then he kind of let it loose in Game 4, scored over 20 points in that game. And then he had that game with Bruce Brown in Game 4 against the Heat where they were all focused on stopping Jokic and Murray. And, it was who else is going to step up. And he was the one that Miami chose to let test if he was going to step up, and he actually did. And it was really good. Again, he's really a good guy. Like, he really, we call him Mr. Nugget because of how he interacts with fans, how he interacts with the media, like how he supports everyone and the stuff that he talks about. Like, it's really impressive. Last year he said, I want to play smarter, I want to play smarter. I want to improve my IQ over last summer and learn how to play best with this team and improve my intelligence. And he showed it. The stuff that he was doing was really on like high basketball level and IQ, and he basically eliminated bad shots, bad possessions on the court. He was really efficient. He was self-confident. Like, he was really, really cool to see again. Like, really a fun run for everyone.
Indeed, it was a fun run for everybody, and certainly Aaron paid off big dividends in this finals run, and especially kudos to Calvin Booth and the management with the Nuggets for getting Aaron and bringing him to the Mile High City, and hey, it paid off with getting him an NBA championship. And speaking of paying off big dividends in order to get an NBA championship, Jamal Murray. Voja, I told a lot of people when Jamal was drafted, right out of the University of Kentucky, I was like, Jamal is going to be something special. Just give him a little time, and he's definitely going to light it up. And we saw flashes of it right before the bubble. And then when the bubble had happened, we really saw Jamal come into full swing. And then we were waiting for big things to happen. He gets hurt, tear his ACL, done for the year, and then he just comes back. And we heard Coach Michael Malone talk about his relationship with Jamal Murray and how they're very close. And we saw Jamal come alive in this series. And, just from start to finish, he was sensational. Give me your thoughts on Jamal and his run.
Yeah, you said this was the biggest question marks for this playoffs. And not in, everyone doubts him, more in let's see what they can do because of the injuries was, number one was Jamal Murray. Number two was probably Michael Malone because this is the first time he has a complete to work with for the playoffs. So you never know if someone is a championship coach or someone is a championship player until it happens, until they're put in the position to be that. And the way Jamal stepped up, it's not, it's the bubble Murray, he's gonna hit a lot of shots and it's gonna be incredible shot making. Like, his improvement on the playmaking level was exceptional. The fact that you let Jokic was in one of the, I don't know if there was the biggest favorite to lead the finals in assists than Jokic was this year. He was, I think, minus 20,000 in odds to lead the finals in the assists, and Jamal Murray ends up leading the finals in the assists because of how Miami Heat was playing and trying to actually subtract the Jokic assisting from the game plan. And what Jamal did was actually step up on the really incredible playmaking level, and that's something that's, for me, was more impressive than the points and the shot making, because we saw that he can do that, and that's relatively he bounces off of Nikola when Nikola is really good. He gets a lot of open shots and he can do these tough shot making, but the fact that he averaged over 10 assists. He had one game that he didn't have 10 assists in these finals, and it was the last game because of just everyone was missing everything. And it was really incredible. I mean, just an incredible level of elevation for him as a basketball player. And Jokic said at one point, because of the injury, he believes that Jamal had to learn essentially to kind of effectively use everything on the court because he isn't as fast as he was before the injury. He probably will be next year because it takes a bit of time to recuperate. But right now, the year after the 2-year break, essentially, from the ACL, he didn't have the same burst. He didn't have the same athleticism they had in the bubble, so he had to learn how to use the court differently, again, which turned out to be now he was better than he was in the bubble, even though maybe he averaged a similar amount of points, but the amount of assisting was just next level like that. Without him elevating that point guard level, they wouldn't have won the title.
Yeah, rightfully so. And again, Jamal Murray, as you said, Voja, he was great this year, but as you said, when he gets that boost back, he's going to be even better next year, man. And certainly Jamal had a series for the ages from start to finish, and certainly we know what his abilities are. He's going to continue to shine, and hopefully, as you said, next year is going to be even bigger and even better for him. And speaking of bigger and better, I mean, the Denver Nuggets, again, they struck gold again, getting bigger and better from your homeland in Serbia, Nikola Jokic, the Bill Russell NBA Finals MVP. Also, he's a 2-time league MVP. Listen, the stats speak for itself. Missed a walk-in triple-double. The man was phenomenal in this finals run. Give me your thoughts on Nikola and his play.
It's really, you said, I mean, it's really hard even to explain, like, how good he is. The fact that everyone was struggling in that final game, in the game 5 of the finals, and he ends up shooting, I think it was a 12 of 16 or 12 of 14, and scoring 28 points in a 94-89 victory for the Nuggets is just, it's unbelievable. The consistency that he has, the metronome style of play, where you can count on him. That we describe him usually either as water, as flowing water, because he can just adapt to wherever the cracks are in the defense. He will go into that like water, and throughout his career, he's been like a goldfish. And if you increase his aquarium, he will grow proportionally. So the more usage he gets, the better, the bigger the numbers they get. Like it really is crazy to think that he had this type of a season in the NBA in the regular season, and then you increased his minutes for the playoffs, and the production just increased based on the minutes. He's one of the rare players that when they do the per 36 minutes or per 100 possessions, or per 75 possessions, that scale is actually proportional, because you have some players that are like, okay, they play 20 minutes, they score a certain amount of points. When you scale it up to 36 minutes in the calculations, that's like 35 a game. It gets really absurd for some. They're not going to be scoring that much or producing that much in the per 36. And Jokic is the one player where you're like, oh yeah, that's actually his numbers, because we see it in the playoffs. If he plays 30 minutes in the regular season a game, he'll have 27 or 25, 10 or 11 rebounds or 10 rebounds and 9 assists. In the playoffs, he's playing 40 minutes a game. He'll increase that to 30-something points, 12 rebounds or 13 rebounds and like 10 assists. And it's really crazy just how consistent he is, how in shape he is, and the different ways he was destroying opponents every series. Minnesota, he had 2 big guys that he would actually pull out of the paint and attack him off the dribble and attack him off the jumpers. Against the Suns, his shot chart was basically just layups and occasional 3 when he gets open. Against the Lakers, he was running. Like, he made Anthony Davis chase him around the court, got into his body, made the Lakers actually take off Anthony Davis off of him and play someone else on defense, get LeBron, get some more physical body on Jokic, because Davis couldn't keep up. And in the finals, it was okay, they're going to play zone, And if they don't play zone, I'm going to go inside. If they play zone, we're going to destroy them with passing and some shot making. And again, it's just hard to, like, we can talk about him forever, like the stuff that he does. There's a reason why his highlight packages for the playoffs are like an hour long. There's so many things he does on the court that are also, like, you can notice, and then some things you can notice on, like, the third watch of a game, and you're like, oh wow, he did that little thing that was actually very important for the whole game plan. And he's the best player in the world.
Yeah, Nikola is just phenomenal, man. I guess we talked about Jamal Murray, about it's going to be even bigger and better for him next year, man. Nikola Jokic, I mean, wow. I can't wait to find out what next year is going to be like for him. And I want to stay just with Nikola for a moment. I've been seeing some pictures and videos of him really enjoying himself since he's been back home in Serbia. Voja, I want to ask you, what have been the celebrations like for him back in Serbia, specifically in Sombor?
Well, the thing is, I'm not even sure that that's anything different than his actual summers. Because he likes that fun, he likes to go, spend time with his family. And most of those pictures that you see is usually surrounded by his close friends and his family. So the difference being is that now, because of the title and because of he's getting more and more famous as a basketball player, you see more pictures and videos. I believe very similarly, he had these situations of, like, celebrations and having fun years ago. It just, again, we didn't see as much because he wasn't on the top of the basketball world. So I think it's just kind of his life. The Sombor is a really small town, really a tight-knit community there too, and people know him for way before he was the Nikola Jokic from, the NBA MVP. So when he goes there, it's kind of just like you go back to, it's like when they talk about LeBron going back to Akron, like kind of everyone knows him and they act like he's not he's one of the people there, not like that's LeBron James, one of the best ever. It's like, oh, it's LeBron James, our guy. And so the celebrations are more like, a part of the community. And just, again, like, there's parties and stuff like in every town. Like, it's just that we see it more now because of the social media era and everything. But I think that's his, like, regular lifestyle. And, like everyone else, like, oh, it's a weekend, let's go out and have some fun. So I don't think it's anything specifically bigger than it would be any other summer.
Well, certainly, I'll tell you one thing, Voja, as they say, to the victor goes the spoils, and certainly Nikola is definitely he's the victor, and he's definitely enjoying all of the spoils so far in this off season. And I want to stay just with Nikola and his comrade Jamal for a moment. We've seen a lot of great duos throughout the history of the NBA. How great can the duo of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray can be? Because we've seen these two gentlemen and the damage that they did during this NBA Finals series, but specifically becoming the first two players in one game to have a triple-double. And how great, in your opinion, can the duo of Jokic and Murray be for years to come?
I don't even know what the limit is for them, because I'm not sure I've seen a duo this connected. And especially because, again, it's one of those, like, the Stockton-Malone situations where it's a point guard and a center. So naturally those two positions work well together, and because of the pick-and-roll actions and that part. But these two are just on another level because of both of them can do everything. And Jamal, it's ironic that he learned some center skills when he was a younger guy. Jokic learned some point guard skills when he was a younger guy. And so they just can do anything. I go back to one of my favorite moments of the playoffs was the Game 3 against the Lakers, where they did a play where it was like Jamal is just going to screen for Nikola, and because he had Schroeder on him, and Schroeder's a smaller guy than Jamal, and they're like, okay, Davis is on Jokic, we're going to get him out of the paint, you're going to screen Davis, and you're going to be left alone with Schroeder on an empty side, basically backing down a smaller guard. And it worked, and then they just started repeating it. And that was one of those things, like, they just pulled out in the playoffs for the first time for so many possessions in a row, where it made sense okay, Jokic is going to dribble the ball. He can pass out of that pick and roll, and Jamal is going to screen for him, and they're going to do this inverted pick and roll with the point guard screening the center and center passing the ball. And that's just not something that we've seen often. I mean, maybe we've seen a possession or two from like other combos in the history, but this level of skill, all-around skill from both of these guys, we might see one of the best duos ever if they keep going like this and end up. Basically now it's all about like, oh, still win multiple titles together. Because right now in the modern era, it's Draymond and Steph based on that connectivity. The difference is that both Jokic and Jamal, again, as I said, all-around offensive players. So I don't think there's really a thing you can do if they're on this high of a level, if they're really fully healthy and playing, you know, that we've seen. I mean, you said it twice, 2 triple-doubles in the same game was just incredible, and they were just all over the place. No one could really touch them the whole playoffs. No one really managed to stop them. And that's why I think like Nuggets are a favorite again. And a lot of teams can do a lot of stuff in the free agency, but unless you figure out a way to stop Jamal and Jokic pick and roll, it's really just a matter of how you're going to lose.
You're absolutely right about that. And these two were so dynamic, especially during this NBA Finals run. And, man, I don't know if the sky is the limit, but definitely these two, I mean, they can go so far, you know, as long as they stay healthy and can make things happen. Nikola and Jamal can definitely become a great duo, one of the greatest duos in the history of the NBA if they can be healthy and you can keep those two together in Denver for an extensive period of time. And speaking of, I mentioned his name earlier in regards to Jamal Murray and as well as Nikola Jokic as well. Head coach Michael Malone. Coach Malone started his head coaching career with the Sacramento Kings. He was fired, and the Denver Nuggets hired him, and they Stan Kroenke and management with the Nuggets, they were patient with him, and, hey, patience paid off to get an NBA championship. And what a job head coach Malone has done since he's been in Denver. Just give me your thoughts on Coach Malone and what he's done with the Nuggets so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's cemented himself as the greatest coach in Nuggets history. I mean, and I want to say probably, but at this point, pretty safe to say because he has the most playoff wins, or he's really close to. He's the third on all-time wins list. Now he won the championship, which is the most important thing, especially for a franchise that never had it before. The thing that he was impressed me in these playoffs is the readiness the team had. They were prepared for any opponent. They were confident in themselves. He actually really is a vocal leader. It's kind of funny, like, you know, unorthodox superstar, unorthodox situation. Jokic is such a Tim Duncan type of player, and he's the big foundation of the whole team, and nothing would, you know, work without him. But then he's not your guy that's gonna, you know, he improved his vocal leadership, especially with the second language this year particularly. But Malone is the guy that's going to come out of the press conference and basically trash talk the Lakers after the first game. And it was really again, it's an unorthodox situation because coaches usually don't do that. But he recognized the void in his team, that they needed someone that is going to basically absorb the spotlight of all the ancillary things in the NBA that a lot of guys don't care about. The Jamal doesn't care about, that Jokic doesn't care about, and so just basically, that's my belief, to spare them of being like exposed to a lot of stuff that they don't really care about the NBA. Malone is kind of absorbing that part, like the celebrations, the speeches at the parade, like that kind of stuff isn't what Jamal and Jokic and all the guys are that like keen to do. And so Malone will be like, okay, I'm going to shield my guys from scrutiny in that perspective. I'm going to speak at the parade and basically be the voice of the team. And that's not something we're used to in the NBA because of just the player empowerment, the movement of coaches. Very often we see the Bucks fire their coach a few years after they win a title. And so it's really fascinating to see like that dynamic. And now he kind of cemented himself as the Nuggets coach for the foreseeable future. And from the basketball perspective, he was really incredible again, how they prepared, how they scouted teams. They knew exactly each series. They started off incredibly well in the first games. They really got easy wins at the beginning of each series, and they kind of threw the first punch every time against any team. And whenever something whenever they would lose or something wouldn't work, he knew exactly what buttons to push with his team and how to prepare, how to respond. The adjustments, a lot of times people think adjustments come from changing which players are on the court. And when in reality, a lot of adjustments are first made with the players that you already have in rotation, but schematically some stuff on the court that happens. And he actually did a lot of that, especially in the Phoenix series, was a big thing because of the offensive potency of that team. And so defensively, how they were ready, how they responded, how they adjusted, rotation, schemes, plans, like everything was really on point. And eventually just let his players play too. Like that was really, really cool to see. So really impressive job for him. As I said, he was the guy that also was under the microscope for this playoff run. And if Nuggets didn't do this or failed really earlier, who knows what then would have happened with him as his head coaching position. But now he kind of silenced everyone that possibly doubted him.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, kudos to Coach Malone on getting his first NBA championship. And you mentioned it, Voja, the people that doubted him. He had a chance in Sacramento. It didn't work out. The exit was premature, but he was able to redeem himself in Denver. And, hey, they were patient with him and got the talent with Nikola, Jamal, and company, and they win an NBA championship. So now Denver is no longer the hunter. They're now the hunted. So what's next for the Nuggets, in your opinion, Voja? Do we see back-to-back championships, or do we see maybe 2 titles in 3 years, 4 years? What's going to be next for the Nuggets in terms of not just trying to win another NBA championship, but just the competition that's going to get ferocious in the NBA, especially in the Western Conference?
It's going to be really fascinating because it's hard to repeat anything, especially these professional sports. Again, with Bruce Brown staying, I would have had I would have been really more bullish on the Nuggets repeat and even three-peat if he stayed, because of, again, it's really, again, with kind of how fits work, Bruce Brown is going to be missed in Denver more than probably he's going to produce for someone else. Again, because of like his stats, when you look at it, it's not, he's getting paid $20 million a year. Usually those guys are your 17, 18-point players per game and stuff like that. But he wasn't really a perfect fit because of the versatility that he provided and options in lineups that he provided because of his movability throughout the lineups. So if he stayed, I would have been like more sure. The thing is now, like everything else, there's questions. Nuggets are banking on development because they have their starting lineup taken care of for a few years. So a lot of money is a lot like it should be in the NBA. You go into the guys that play the most minutes. Christian Braun he obviously is coming back. He's on a second year. He's projected to obviously improve. The finals was very encouraging, not just in defensively, but offensively, the stuff that he was doing, that now he's going to have a surefire rotation spot that he can relax a bit, let loose in his game. Again, this year he's been on the edge of rotation, so a lot of it was let's not make a mistake out there. So that's the only way to play defense and not make mistakes. He's going to have to continue to do that, but again, because of the sure minutes that he's probably going to get, he can relax and play offensively. Michael Porter is the one that I'm looking at as if he improves to the level that I think he can, especially with another healthy summer, he can basically negate whatever we lost with Bruce leaving. Michael Porter can make up if he steps up further in his development. But again, it's really also fascinating from around the league. Like Nuggets won, but it's still a lot of people still don't believe in it, even though they really ran through the NBA because of the Miami Heat was in the finals, and they don't respect the Heat as much because they're a playing team. Lakers were a playing team, and so a lot of people still are in denial that Nuggets are really good. So it's really going to be fascinating to see how teams respond and if they believe. Like Suns are now all of a sudden again thought of as the number one contender because of Bradley Beal trade and some of the free agency moves that they made, and the fact the Nuggets didn't do anything specifically because they already had their players taken care of. A lot of people conflate that with, they didn't do anything, so which means that they got worse, which I don't personally believe because we've talked about Jokic and Jamal, and that's what you're looking at in the starting lineup. So again, it's gonna be really interesting. Again, you said Hunted and Hunter. We'll even see how the rest of the league, if they still sleep on the Nuggets, that might actually bode well for the Nuggets. But I believe they're ready. I think they'll usually, when you cross that threshold of the first title, I think you gain more confidence, and I think they might come out and you kind of you familiarize with yourself and what you're capable of. You understand what you're capable of once you win that, and I believe that they will really come out like really, really well, like kind of like the Golden State did the year after they won the title.
Absolutely, and it's great words from you, Voja, and you heard it from him. He's Voja Medic. He is the co-host of the Nuggets Serbia podcast, which airs exclusively on YouTube, and he serves as an occasional contributor for the Serbian Corner podcast, which is aired exclusively on the DNVR Sports YouTube channel. Voja, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us on the program. Just tell everybody what's going on over at Nuggets Serbia.
Well, yeah, thank you for having me again. It was really great talking to you. As far as Nuggets Serbia, for anyone that speaks Serbian and likes to listen to about the NBA in Serbian, it's Nuggets Serbia on YouTube. We do weekly shows basically around what's happening in the league, mostly focused on the Nuggets, but again expanding in everything.
All right, Voja, tell everybody where they can find you on social media, as well as also Nuggets Serbia and any websites. Let them know that as well.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Voja Medic, MEDIC, and again, Nuggets Serbia is on all of those platforms as well. Just Nuggets SRBIJA, Serbia and Serbian. So yeah, that's basically it.
Awesome. Before I let you go, Voja, I've got to ask you a lighthearted question. The last time I had you on the program, we were talking about Serbian cuisine, and I asked you about some of the wonderful food that comes from your native homeland of Serbia. I was doing my research on something, and I want to ask you, can you explain to the listeners what pljeskavica is?
Oh, yeah. So that's basically a burger. It's just that ground meat, but a lot of times prepared with some different spices inside, rolled up with onions, and then a lot of times when it's the best, it's from different meats put together: beef, lamb, pork, like that kind of combination, and then usually grilled on charcoal for that extra flavor. So that's one of those, like the gourmet barbecue that Serbia is famous for. Usually you can we like it on it's called kajmak, is like a dairy product. It's basically that skim on top of the milk that forms when the milk is hot. So you collect that and salt it and make it into like a cheesy spread. So that on top of the burger is something that is really popular over there.
Awesome. Thank you for that explanation. And you heard it from him. He is Voja Medic, co-host of the Nuggets Serbia podcast, which airs exclusively on YouTube. So check them out and check what they bring to the table in terms of all your NBA information, specifically with the Denver Nuggets from a Serbian perspective. Voja, again, this was a lot of fun. Thank you again. If ever you want to come back on, feel free to let us know.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ed. Have a good one.
You too. We'll be back with more right after this.
As we approach a minute remaining, Nuggets clinging to a 1-point lead. Murray lobs it up top to Jokic, 5 to shoot. Jokic backs in, drives inside, layup won't go. Gordon's tip is no good. Strus the rebound. 45 seconds remaining.
This is where you want to look to for one if you can, if you get a good one.
Lowry picked up by Gordon. Murray is on Butler. Jimmy Butler on the drive, gets inside, stops. Stolen by Caldwell Pope. And a a foul with 24.7 remaining. Inside to Butler. Gordon guards him. Duncan Robinson looking for it. Caldwell Pope pokes it away. Butler hoists up a three. Off the mark. Brown the rebound. They've got a foul, and they do. With 14.3 remaining.
You don't need a three in that situation.
Lowry searching. Looking. Finds Strus back to Lowry. There it is. Three-pointer. Won't go. Rebound. Caldwell Pope. They're not going to foul. The Heat will let it play out. It's over. At last, the long wait is over. After 47 years, the Denver Nuggets can finally call themselves NBA champions. There's such joy right now in the Mile High City. The first title in franchise history. Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets win it all.
This is the first Finals MVP trophy that we're giving out since Bill Russell's passing. And he'd be incredibly pleased. It's another center. This year's Bill Russell Finals MVP goes to Nikola Jokic.
You know, as we said, really one really good thing. We are not winning for ourselves. We are winning for the guy next to us, and that's why this is even more. Because I was winning for Jamal was winning for Adrian. That's how it goes, you know. And this is a great group of people, a great group of teammates. Like I said, from the family Kroenke to the Sparky and Gene, everything this year was amazing. You know, we believe in each other, the relationship that we had. Yes, trophies and something, but I think we had some relationship that is going to be long, like even after we finish careers.
Modern life is noisy. Noise is everywhere. Excessive noise is harmful, linked to sleep deprivation, hearing loss, and heart disease. Should noise be the price we pay for progress? Actually, no. Many noise sources have quieter options. Gas-powered landscaping equipment is obsolete, with battery-powered options greatly reducing noise and air pollution. Audible car alarms are obsolete, with vehicle immobilizers and GPS tracking providing silent anti-theft technologies. Quieter backup warning sounds are available, and adjustable directional sounds are less intrusive. So what can you do to reduce noise levels? Talk to store and building managers about safe sound levels. Work with elected officials and the police to strengthen noise enforcement. Join Noise Free America, a coalition to promote quiet.
All right, everybody, that's going to do it for another exciting edition of The Robinson Show. Once again, a big special thank you to Voja Medic, co-host of the Nuggets Serbia podcast, which airs exclusively on YouTube and serves as an occasional contributor for the Serbian Corner podcast, which is aired exclusively on the DNVR Sports YouTube channel. Again, a big special thank you to Voja for appearing on the program and just discussing the Denver Nuggets NBA Finals run. And until next time, remember, put God first in everything you do, and you can't go wrong. Until next time, stick to the script. I'm out. Peace. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Remember to click like, share, and subscribe. Once again, thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Remember to click like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.